Thank you. Good morning. My name is Max Hartgraves, and I will be the acting commission secretary today. The following is the June 9th, 2022 700th Arizona Racing Commission meeting taking place via Google Meets, and I will do the roll call. Commissioner York? You are on mute, Commissioner York.
Sorry, present.
Commissioner French-Contreras? You are also on mute. Yes.
How's that? Here.
Okay. Thank you. Chair Coolidge?
Present.
And Commissioner Olson? So she is not present. Thank you. We have a quorum. The time is 10 o'clock, and the floor is yours, Chair Coolidge.
Thank you, sir. I'll call to order the 700th Arizona Racing Commission meeting of June 9th, 2022. First, I'd just like to take a minute and thank, as well as introduce our new commissioners, Commissioner French-Contreras and Commissioner York. We appreciate you guys joining and helping us continue to move along racing in Arizona, and appreciate you joining our group to pursue those thoughts.
Commissioner, thank you. Chairman Coolidge, I appreciate the introduction, and I look forward to being involved in this commission.
Appreciate you both.
Thank you.
As common in this commission, we are going to throw you both into the deep end with all kinds of permit renewals and simulcast agreements. Should you need to go into executive session to ask any legal questions, you can always ask to do so. Otherwise, we are going to jump right into it. We're moving down to action item C, which is the hearing on Arizona Downs LLC 3-year racing permit application renewal. Mr. Duncan, do you want to give some updates as to how that looks, and then provide any insights from the department for us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I believe Rudy is going to update you on that.
I'm sorry, I just came on. I didn't catch what was going on.
We're just doing a quick review of the Arizona Downs LLC racing permit application renewal for fiscal years 22 to 24.
Okay, we've done the due diligence on Arizona Downs racing application and did a financial review based on all the state and federal grant monies and what have you. The determination was that Arizona Downs meets all the requirements to put on a race meet going forward for this year. Also want to basically inform the commission that in approving their permit, it's for 22, 23, 24. And I would recommend that a approval be made for the 22 race meet. However, the 23, 24 is to be determined based on further review of financial viability going forward.
And you said just for the fiscal year 22?
That's correct.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Any questions from my fellow commissioners on this?
Commissioner, I'm sorry, go ahead, Candace. Chairman and staff, I do have a question. On page 9 of the application under 39 horse ambulance, it says number of individuals staffing the vehicle, the ambulance is 1. Is that standard? It just seems, in a catastrophic, who's driving the vehicle, who's taking care of the horses, it just seems to be awful lean.
Commissioner Contreras, it is standard that you also have the vet that arrives, the gate crew that arrives, and also other track employees that will arrive there. But the vet is in the chase vehicle. It's only basically the driver to get the trailer there.
Okay, and so the vet is there, the track that is there as well?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Coolidge, I had a question as well.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
The question is for the department. More of education for me. I don't believe that this is part of the application process, but at any point, is the permittee, whether it's Arizona Downs or any other permittee, asked or required to give a marketing plan that shows how they plan to market the meet?
Commissioner York, I can address that. Generally, for a permittee, we do not necessarily require them to submit a marketing plan. We do ask for a initial business plan. They do provide marketing plans and what have you regarding their OTBs that they contract with. However, just in general, for a permittee application, we do not necessarily require the marketing plan.
Thank you, Director.
Otherwise, I'll go ahead and step in and personally thank Arizona Downs for making sure your financials are all put together for at least fiscal year 2022. Look forward to seeing the documents as we move into fiscal year 23 and 24. That said, I would move that we go ahead and approve fiscal year 2022 for Arizona Downs LLC permit application renewal. Mr. Author, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I'm always confused by the fiscal year issue. We just want to make sure that the entire race meet that we're starting in 2 weeks will be approved and ready to go. So it runs all the way through to September of next year. And honestly, I don't know if that might be the 23 fiscal year, Commissioner Coolidge. And I just want to avoid any problem with that. Thank you.
Understood. Director Casillas, when is the expiration date on the 2022 fiscal year within the department?
As Chairman Coolidge, this, hang on, I'm on the wrong page. The permit recommendation for approval is for 22 commencing June 25th, 2022 through September 5th, 2022. I can give you all the inclusive dates if you like, but it's from June 25th through September 5th. 23, I'm sorry. Or 22.
Mr. Author, any other questions you have on that?
No, that's good. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I will represent my motion to the floor approving fiscal year 2022 for Arizona Downs permit application renewal.
I'll second that motion.
Five horses.
Excuse me?
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call a roll. Commissioner York,
Approved.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Approve.
Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson. Thank you. That motion passes.
Thanks. We'll move down to action item C2, simulcast agreements pursuant to A.R.S. 5-112U for Arizona Downs 1 through 3. Mr. Duncan, anything to note here?
There is no updates, Mr. Chairman. I did supply and review all the contracts. All are in order. The division would recommend the 5112U contracts be approved for items C2A, 1, 2, and 3 for Arizona Downs.
Looking through these agreements, looks like we have everything that we need. Any questions or concerns from my commissioners? Otherwise, I'll move that we approve simulcast agreements 1 through 3 for Arizona Downs.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Commissioner York,
Approved.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson. Thank you. That motion is approved.
Shifting down to simulcast agreements pursuant to A.R.S. 5-112U for item B, Turf Paradise 1 through 7. As we're reviewing internally, Mr. Duncan, any updates on your end and general recommendations?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Again, contracts have all been supplied and reviewed and all look in order. The division would recommend 5112U contracts be approved for items C2B 1 through 7 for Turf Paradise.
Looking through, it looks like we do have everything in order. Appreciate both tracks having all the agreements in order on this particular item. Any questions or concerns from my commissioners?
No.
Otherwise, I'll move that we approve Turf Paradise's 1 through 7 simulcast agreements.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Commissioner York,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson. Thank you. That motion is approved.
Thank you, sir. Move to action item C3, simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to IHA section 3004A3, Arizona Downs 1 through 3, with the 5-112U approvals now in place. Mr. Duncan, any other items to note or suggestions?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, on the IHA, just a quick update on these for Arizona Downs. Under C3A for Arizona Downs, items 1 through 3 on the analysis show that they do not have the Arizona HBPA documentation. However, I did receive the documentation yesterday. So since I received that documentation, item 1, Fair Meadows, is now complete with your approval of the 5112U contracts. Items 2 and 3 are still missing host commission, host horseman. The division would make sure to collect all those documents for items 2 and 3 before we give them permission to turn the signal on. The division would recommend that item 1 for Arizona Downs be approved and items 2 and 3 be conditionally approved, pending the rest of the documentation be turned in by the permittee.
Thank you, sir. I will ask that you forward those documents to all of the commissioners and myself so that we can review as well. Any other questions from my commissioners on this?
No.
I'll go ahead and move that we approve simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to the IHA section 3004A3 for Arizona Downs for Fair Meadows.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Commissioner York,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
and Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson. Thank you. That motion passes.
I'll also go ahead and conditionally, or a motion to conditionally approve the simulcast import signals pursuant to IHA section 3004A3 for Arizona Downs for items 2 and 3, conditioned on they submit the additional documents to the department and give the department the ability to go ahead and move forward with those so we don't see a delay in those signals.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Commissioner York,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson. Thank you. Those import signals are conditionally approved.
Thank you, sir. We'll jump down to item 3B for Turf Paradise 1 through 7. Mr. Duncan, any additional updates you have there now that you have the 5112U approvals?
No change, Mr. Chairman, there is no changes on the analysis on this. Item 1 is now complete. Items 2 through 7 are still missing the host commission and or the host horseman documentation. The division would make sure to collect all the documents for items 2 through 7 before we give them permission to operate the signal. The division would recommend that item 1 for Turf Paradise be approved. And again, items 2 through 7 be conditionally approved pending the rest of the documentation being received from the permittee.
Thank you, sir. Just reviewing this real quick. Any questions or concerns from my commissioners?
No.
No.
Everything looks to be in order. I'm going to go ahead and move that we approve Turf Paradise's Saratoga import signals.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Commissioner York,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson. Thank you. That motion passes.
Thank you, sir. I'll go ahead and move that we conditionally approve Turf Paradise's items 2 through 7 pursuant that they submit all the requisite documents to the department and leave it up to the department to further approve from there so that we don't see any delay in signals.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Commissioner York,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson. Thank you. Those signals are conditionally approved.
Before we move down to item D, I'm going to ask that we go into executive session, or request to go into executive session if I could get a second.
I'll make a second for executive session.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras to enter into executive session. I will call the roll. Commissioner York,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson. Thank you. That motion passes. We will enter into executive session at 10:17. Mr. Chair, looks like all commissioners are in attendance. Would you like me to call the roll?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will do the roll call. Commissioner York,
Here.
Commissioner French Contreras. You may be on mute, Commissioner.
Here.
And Chair Coolidge
Present.
and Commissioner Olson. Thank you. We have, the time is 10:36 and we have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Before we move down to the track safety reports, I think I had an error in a previous action item within C1, which is the 3-year racing permit application renewal for fiscal year 2022, 2023, and 2024. I would like to make an amendment to that motion just so that it is clear moving forward. So I would like to approve Arizona Downs 3-year racing permit application renewal for fiscal year 2022, as well as approve live race dates for fiscal year 2023, July 1 through September 5th.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Commissioner York,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
and Commissioner Olson. Thank you. That amended motion passes.
I appreciate that. We're going to drop back down to T1. Dr. Gale, updates on the track safety reports, please.
Thank you, Chair Coolidge, commissioners. Just by means of introduction to the new commissioners, I'm Dr. Susan Gale, state veterinarian for the Arizona Department of Gaming Racing Division. I've been with the department about 5 years. The first item, again, at the end of your packet, there was a listing. We keep track of breakdowns and fatalities that occur at each track in Arizona each year. The total number, the chart you received was fiscal year. I did go back to June 1st of 2021 just to be able to compare complete seasons for each of the 3 commercial tracks. The total number of horse deaths at Arizona commercial tracks in that period, June 1st, 21 to May 31st, 22, is 54. That breaks down into 27 that were race related, 11 that occurred during training hours, and then 16 classified as other, which can be illness or accident. Of the 27 fatalities that occurred during racing, 21 of those were to thoroughbreds, 6 were to quarter horses. The Jockey Club maintains a statistic every year of a rate of fatalities per 1,000 of thoroughbreds only. So to give you that rate for Arizona in this past year, the overall state rate was 2.54 per 1,000 starts. The national rate was 1.39 for essentially the same period. That breaks down to each track. For Arizona Downs, their rate was 1.37. Rito was 13.03, and Turf Paradise was 2.31. Again, Rito had an unusual year this year. They don't often have even one fatality. They may have one. They have formed a panel to review this past season. I've been in contact with that panel, and we'll be providing some information on those horse breakdowns so that they may be able to look ahead and formulate some plans for next year to reduce that number. The second item I'd like to discuss is the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act. The safety rules that were approved in March are going into effect July 1st, this next month. The medication and testing rules will not go into effect until January 1st of 2023. I myself, Brian Duncan, the racing enforcement manager, met with Arizona Downs staff, Mike Weiss, the general manager, the track veterinarian, the emergency medical services team, as well as security about a couple weeks ago to discuss the implementation and some of the aspects of putting these rules into place. Some of the key components of this rule, one is jockey health. And that was one that the emergency medical folks will be taking action on. There's a number of requirements for records of horse movements, veterinary records of treatments that'll need to be maintained. All individuals that participate in racing and have direct contact with horses, they call restricted areas, which generally is the track, paddock, and backside stall area, need to register. And the horsemen, I believe, are having a meeting tomorrow to address that component. And then our department staff will also be having a meeting with the horsemen on Monday, June 20th, again, to discuss our cooperating roles in implementing these rules. Time of that meeting is yet to be determined. One of the key rules that will need to be addressed in terms of how we manage it, there's a void claim rule, which again in Arizona, the rule we have in our administrative code states that anyone who claims a horse, once that horse leaves the starting gate, that horse becomes their property, whether or not it finishes the race alive, lame, sound, or otherwise. It's the irrevocability of the claim. The HISA, Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act, HISA is the abbreviation, has a voided claim rule, which dictates that if a horse is vanned off, suffers injury, or is lame within an hour after the race, the claim can be voided if the claimant does not choose to accept the horse in any condition. They have that option. So there's a number of steps that we're going to be having to take, and a number of meetings we're going to have to conduct to try to work together to put these safety rules into effect. And again, the main goal of this is to improve the health and safety of the horses that are participating, as well as the human folks that participate in race meets, the jockeys, exercise riders, etc. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Appreciate you as always, Dr. Gale. I don't think we have any questions on our end. Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Director Casillas, Mr. LaForest, any updates on the budget report?
No updates at this time, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gessman, do you want to give us an update on the IHIA?
Yes, Chairman Coolidge, Leroy Gessman. Want to welcome the two new commissioners to the commission. Just to give you a quick update, I'm Leroy Gessman. I'm former president of the National Horseman Benevolence and Protection Association. I am still very active in the organization and also on the legislative committee that is dealing with HISA. So I monthly give an update on our lawsuits. The HBPA lawsuit is still under appeal. The lawsuit filed by the group of states attorney generals has been denied, and so it is under appeal. Again, the judge giving the same reason as before, that they didn't have the authority to strike down something that Congress had passed. So now we both are on our way to the appeal courts. We are already in the appeal process, where we're just waiting for our hearing dates to be established. Also, I was just updated this morning. Our lobbyists in Washington, D.C. are working to try and get HISA delayed through a Congress action that can change the start date. I don't think that would come with a lot of resistance, but in talking with some of the HISA people, I think they're still a little overwhelmed in what's going on as well. I did want to give an update I got this morning as well. There are 9 commissions so far out of the 27 commissions that deal with horse racing in the United States. 9 commissions have indicated possibly signing and supporting HISA, but only 3 have sent in their letters of intent and have officially committed out of the 27. The other 18, as did Arizona, the other 18 have said they're not going to participate. What does that mean? I'm not sure. I guess as the year progresses, we will find out. I do want to, I do think there was a mistake in Dr. Gale's report. The medication is being, she said January 1st to go into effect. I believe January 1st is the deadline to submit those rules into the FTC. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I understood. So they wouldn't necessarily go into effect January 1 on the drug rules. This thing is very confusing. It's a mess. We got people that don't want to sign up. We got people that have signed up. We're having a meeting tomorrow to try and discuss everyone's concerns and try and move forward. The big, I guess the big hammer that HISA has is if a track does not participate, they will not be allowed to export their signal out. And as for just to educate you guys, the export signal is the main income for the racetrack and the main income for the horse purses. So export is very important to the track. The other thing is the people that choose not to participate after July 1st, their horses are supposed to be scratched. If they enter a horse after July 1st and they're not signed up to participate, whether it be the trainer, the owners, the jockey, or the horse itself, if they haven't been registered with HISA, they will not be allowed to participate. With that, I will end, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Mr. Guessman, one question. This is Commissioner French-Contreras. What do you find is the biggest pushback that you're running into right now in getting more support?
I think there's several issues. The number one thing I'm getting from the owners and trainers, the farriers, they just don't, there's going to be, they feel like the government is running their businesses.
Okay.
They don't want the government involved in their businesses. There's also going to be a lot of, for everyone that's in the industry, there's going to be a lot of new requirements on record keeping. That's way above and beyond what we currently are doing, not only for the veterinarians, the farriers, the trainers, and the track owners. There's all these reports and records that need to be kept. So it's just a lot of paperwork. And then again, like I said, the main thing is people don't want the government telling them how to run their business.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gassman. We'll move to the permittee report. Actually, Mr. Author, I see you have your hand raised. You need to.
Yeah, this is Tom Author, Chairman Coolidge. I just wanted to confirm my understanding of what we just did with respect to our permit. I think you folks approved our permit for 1 year, which I think technically is fiscal 23. So it would go from July 1, 22 to to June 30th of 23. And you also approved fiscal year 22 because we've got 4 or 5 race days in June that is actually still in fiscal year 22. Is that accurate?
So what we approved was fiscal year 2022, which will get you through to the end of this month.
Okay.
And 2023 up to your race of September 5.
So at that point, do we need to reapply for a permit even though we wouldn't be racing until probably June of 23? Wouldn't it
I'll
make-
defer to the department on how that would shake out, but that's September 5 is what your permit is approved for at this point.
Okay, I would, and I don't mean to be
No problem.
a problem. It just seems to me that we ought to approve it for fiscal year 2023, which would take us to June 30th of next year. It wouldn't, you know, if something was amiss at that point, you could deny us the race dates. So I don't think it automatically approves. Yeah, it just seems like it should be for the full year. Anyway, that's for clarification.
I understand your hesitancy, and what I would do is direct you to the department after the meeting to make sure that you get your finances and other documents in order. We can always make an amendment to complete fiscal year 2023, but at this point you are approved until September 5.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Dropping down to Permittee Reports, why don't we, Mr. Author, why don't you go ahead and just jump in on 4B for Arizona Downs, please?
Okay, thank you. There's Mike Weiss. I'm going to let him talk too, but first, I just want to welcome the 2 new commissioners. Look forward to meeting you personally, and I'm glad we're going to have this meet going, and you guys will be able to see it firsthand. So, and it looks like Mike wants to give his report. Is that okay, Chairman Coolidge?
Yes, sir. Mr. Weiss, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Michael Weiss, and I am General Manager of Arizona Downs. I also like to issue a warm welcome to the new commissioners here. Arizona Downs is only 3 weeks from opening day, June 25th. We will be racing Saturdays and Mondays. The plan is to add Tuesdays in August for a total of 27 live days. I am really excited to be bringing back some quarter horse and thoroughbred racing to Prescott Valley area. Currently, we're already over 550 horses on the grounds. Expecting hopefully another 300-ish now that we have our approvals. And we've started our training. So 6 days a week, we are out there in the mornings training. I do encourage visitors. I mean, there's nothing nicer than the mornings. It's so peaceful. The sunrise is coming up. The horses are galloping. You have the mountains. It's definitely something to come see. I have to state that the compliments from the horsemen and jockeys and exercise riders on the recent surface have been all pleasing. The fun part, of course, is, trying to hold moisture out here in the desert, and we have been using lots of water. We're looking into some other possibilities and some arrangements, even the possibility of adding some wood chips to help hold moisture. But we've been looking into that strongly, and we've been training 6 days a week, and the compliments on the surface have been wonderful. So I'm very pleased with that. We are aligned with New York Racing Content Management to showcase and promote our signal around the world. I'm really looking forward to a good meet. One of the items that has fallen on us, as Mr. Gessman has mentioned, is the timing of the HISA, the Horse Racing Integrity Safety Authority. Our opening is June 25th. HISA regulations fall into place July 1st. So we are kind of under the gun. I'm working closely with the officers of the HISA group to try and get implementations in time. And hopefully there will be some little bit delays from the other side. Part of it is including the trainer registrations, which I want to thank HPBA Director Leroy Gessman for his cooperation, as we've been working really closely together to help make this succeed and put processes in place. And also the jockey safety protocol. That's very important to us. Our EMTs are working with an MD to bring them in to provide convenience and have them come to the jockey's room to do the physicals and the S-scan concussion test. So just to wrap this up, I'm really excited about this season and welcome you all to come on out and enjoy a day or some days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Weiss, while I have you on as well, do you want to talk about any other updates on Rito?
Well, thank you for the new members of the commission, I am also general manager at Rito Park in Tucson. I have no further updates at this moment. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll pop back up to American Greyhound Racing.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Aaron Feinberg from American Greyhound Racing. No update this month. Would just like to welcome the two new commissioners and wish them well on their journey. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Moving down to county fairs. How about Tucson Greyhound Park and Turf Paradise?
Yes, this is Jerry Sims. Can you hear me?
Mr. Sims, go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me, Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I want to welcome Commissioners French Contreras and Commissioner York. We're very appreciative that you've offered your services, and we look forward to having you come with the other commissioners all to have a invitation from our general manager. I still call him mayor, but he was mayor for 8 terms. But from Mr. Francia to have you have a tour, all of you. We're in our off season. We start racing November 5th, and the horses come on the track 30 days before. I think last year we had about 1,600 horses. Some years we go all the way up to the 1,900 number, but we expect to have a good season. During the off season, we do a lot of work, primarily for safety. We are in the process now of raising the grass rail. Somebody once figured out that if a horse comes up to a rail and it's 42 inches from the ground, they say they don't feel like they could jump it. And that's where we have to have it 42 to 46 inches. The dirt rail, we're in the process of ordering that to be replaced. It's a long process. They'll get it built and installed by the first few days of October, which is when we have horses coming on. That is conditioned on getting a new contract with the HBPA, because currently my contract with them only goes through September 1. And I'm hoping that we'll get that work. We are progressing on things that are important to the horsemen and to us. As an example, Dynamic Diesel, an outside company that we've used before. We have a full-time mechanic, but Dynamic Diesel has already come in and done reports on each vehicle. And I don't know how many rolling vehicles we have, but a lot, 35, 40. They've written reports on what needs what, and they're coming in after July 1 to start that work. Real good news, yesterday agreed my chef for 20 years, who did such a great job, is coming back to work. He will make sure the clubhouse has full food service, the grandstand, and also the backside kitchen. So we'll be doing that in-house. We remain committed to safety. It's paramount to us. If you're ever having a bad day, go pet a horse. It's a great way to do it. I've done that under those circumstances. We've had a higher amount of injuries than the national statistics, but we still part of that is the caliber of the horses we get are not exactly the Kentucky Derby types, and the trainers do a great job of working with the horses that they have, and we all work on safety. They're very committed to safety, as is the track. See if I thought anything else. In the chase vehicle, we could use one that's a paramedic and one that is just a medical person. We choose, ever since I've been there, I've owned it for 22 years, we have the Phoenix Fire paramedics, and 2 of them, and they're both full paramedics. And it's important too, because if there's a problem, horse issue, they can call very quickly to get the people from Phoenix Fire Department there, bring their trucks or ambulance, whatever they need, but because they're with the Phoenix Fire Department, it makes it easy. I think that covers everything. I'm just glad to have you folks here, and if I can do anything ever, please feel free to call me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll move to D5 on optional industry stakeholder association updates. Arizona Counties Racing Association. Arizona Quarter Horse. Arizona Thoroughbred. HBPA.
Yes, Commissioner Coolidge, not much to report. We just, other than we just been working on the HISA implementation, and I will say we did come to an agreement with Arizona Downs on a contract, and that was executed this past week. I am now officing in Arizona Downs and up here every day, and things are progressing well, I believe. Like I said, the HISA is the biggest issue we have at this current. Any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
No, you guys have a lot on your plate right now, and I appreciate you putting priority on getting that contract done with Arizona Downs so that we can continue moving forward there.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to Jockeys Guild. Okay. As far as commission reports go, any of my fellow commissioners have anything that they would like to bring up?
No, I'm good.
And then as far as the commission reports, I will be working with the department to put something on the agenda, possibly next time for the HISA side as well. And Mr. Guessman, I'll likely be reaching out to you as well as the racetracks on that to communicate that once we place that on the agenda, once everything gets shaken out there. As far as calls to the public go, looks like I have one person on that.
Mr. Chair, it is Mike Senior.
Mr. Senior, a couple of minutes for you. Go ahead.
Great. It's Senor, but that's okay. And I've spoken before. Well, first I'd like to welcome the new commissioners. I want them to realize, which I hope they do, the horse player is their customer. And if they don't play or wager on horses, they don't understand what we're going through. We all know the elephant in the room is the monarch dispute. It's never on the agenda. But there's other things also, and I'm so glad today that you guys didn't hash out OTB crap for an hour, which to me now is meaningless, and I'll explain why. A couple of weeks ago, Parks Racetrack, small racetrack in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, had a mandatory pick 5. This was on a Wednesday. The mandatory pick 5 was at $750,000. Everybody on TVG, blah, 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 they were like, oh, it might go up a little bit. Well, you know, we'll like to see what it does. It's a Wednesday. There's probably not many people wagering, blah, blah, blah. That pool on that day rose to over $3.5 million. Why? Not because of OTBs, not because of people at the track. There's nobody there. OTBs were dead. Nobody there. People working. It's the online world. The online world. That is now your customer. That is where the money is. Huge amounts of money. And it's being stymied by this monarch dispute. This OTB thing, on September 9th, 2021, your product model changed. And it just doesn't seem like anybody here gets it. They still act like it's the 20th century. I want the new commissioners to realize when you say no to anything, everyone loses money. When you say yes, everyone makes money. It's ironic to me that Leroy earlier said nobody wants the government to get in the way. Well, guess what? The horse players feel the same way. The government is in the way. 2.5 years of not being able to bet at tracks. And you guys might think, well, just ignore, just don't look. It's not really there. Turn on TVG every day. It's there. It's in front of our faces. All these ADWs. Oh, bet at Indy who went to Monarch, unfortunately. Oh, all these specials. Bet on these races, specials, deals. They're Monarch tracks. We are being, basically, it's Monarchs pushed in our faces every day as a horse player. And we cannot wager on it. Why? Because the government is in the way. In closing, I want to say on your Twitter bio, you guys say you're a world-class gaming regulation for a stronger Arizona. When it comes to the Monarch dispute, that is not what you are. You need to practice what you preach. Get this on I don't care if you don't even have updates, at least put it on there. Say, hey, Monarch won't talk to us. Whatever it is. But to act like it doesn't exist and it's literally costing everybody, Monarch, Arizona Downs, everybody is losing money. A dispute usually continues because there's somebody that's benefiting when the dispute goes on. There's someone benefiting. In this case, no one is benefiting. No one. Please help your customers. I know I don't want you to think I'm not an angry old man here. You know, I'm passionate about this. I'm frustrated. 2.5 years. I want to be able to bet on a Santa Anita mandatory pick six that's $30 million. I want to be able to do that. The government is stopping me from doing that. And the one other thing I want to say is Arizona Downs mentioned a few months ago, they were like, well, we don't think.
30 seconds, sir.
What's that? I'm sorry. Let me just say this and I'll be done. Arizona Downs mentioned that, well, we don't think Monarch is costing us that much. Guys, your abacus and Etch-a-Sketch isn't going to help us here. We need you to realize that the Monarch dispute was before Arizona had legalized sports betting. Nobody here knows how much you're losing because now millions of people can have access to bet on this stuff, where before you had to use a phone and there was probably thousands. Millions of people. So don't anybody here tell me, well, we're not losing much money. I guarantee you're losing a lot of money. Please, please do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll move to announcements. Next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Thursday, July 14th, likely via Google Meet and subject based on a quorum as always. That said, I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
You have a motion to adjourn by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Commissioner York,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
and Chair Coolidge.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes. The time is 11:08 and this meeting is adjourned.